So I would say that Sunset's computer sciences, or I mean, I've taken quite a few classes. I've taken Java, C++, which are probably the most influential classes, but I've also taken, I took computer game design 1 and graphic science, but that's not really computer science. And it helps with things like problem solving a lot, I would say. I mean, you wouldn't really necessarily associate computer science with helping in areas like physics or like things, but it really kind of gives you that mindset to go at things and like break it down into smaller pieces and like to manageable pieces. And so I think that's a pretty valuable thing about computer science. On my future plans, I wouldn't say that computer science has directly impacted like how I'm gonna like my future from a career standpoint, because I've kind of always known that I wanted to, or I don't want to go into computer science, but I want to go into engineering. So it's kind of in the similar like STEM field. So I wouldn't say that like this class has changed my life, but I definitely do say that it's an extremely valuable experience and to be exposed to it, especially if you want to go into like an engineering or STEM field. I definitely 100% think that it's valuable. So the value of computer science, I honestly think that computer science should be a core class, like up there with, or maybe not a core class, but up there with like physics or math, like maybe another science. It should be on like, there are what, 20 people in our C++ class, and of a class of 300, that's just not enough in my opinion, because well, it might have like a nerd connotation or whatever to it. It really is a valuable skill, especially in the age now where so many jobs are reliant on, so many things that you see in every day are reliant on computer science. Like, it's definitely a really good skill, especially like you can walk around and see like, oh, I know how that app has been coded or whatever. It's a valuable skill, and then as well, you can always use the knowledge. If you like, I coded a program to check my grade in calculus like 2 days ago, and it's just like stupid little things like that, but you can really build that into something valuable. How are they different? It's a lot more hands-on, I would say. There's no like reading a textbook. It's more kind of do what you want and good luck kind of thing, which can be frustrating at times, but at the same time, it's really, you learn a lot more by like figuring things out. And like when it comes to coding, coding I would say is a combination between learning Spanish and learning physics. Like, it's like learning a language in the aspect that you have to know all the syntax, but it's like learning a language on steroids, because if you make a grammar mistake, everything dies. So that's kind of problematic, but then it's like physics as well, where you like break things down into problem solving. So that's why I would say that computer science is very valuable, because it teaches you like all these aspects that, and it's very like real life. So like the skills that you're learning are very applicable. Name something that I've done that I'm particularly proud of. I mean, I would say I came into C++ not really knowing what to expect, and I think just having the like determination to stick through it, and like from failing practicals or whatever, like you see this, but then like you can go back and you can see what you did wrong, and like there's just a lot of growth that, and it's compared to other classes, you might like forget things that you learned, like in physics or something, you might like do one unit and then you'll move on to another unit. But in C++, you don't move on to that other unit unless you know this, like 100% know what's going on. And so that can be a drain if you don't get something, but at the same time, it's helpful for making sure that you like know what's legitimately happening. Skills, problem solving. Or I wouldn't say that like all my problem solving ability is like due to C++, but I definitely think that it helps. And it might just be like some subconscious thing where it's the mindset of, because when you're doing like writing a program, it's very like, you really have to know what's going on at every single point, and you have to break things up. And like, just having that mindset of like breaking things down into smaller pieces or analyzing things step by step, like even in literature, like instead of analyzing code line by line, analyzing a passage line by line to do a passage commentary. I mean, it really is impactful, and I really honestly legitimately think that C++ or in computer science in general should be weighted more towards curriculum, especially with how like relevant. I think the problem is that because it's such a new area, like people, teachers and like boards or whatever, they don't really understand how relevant it is in everyday life. Like designing apps on your phone, your calculator. Like I literally have programmed to code in my calculator to do the not the Pythagorean theorem, the quadratic equation, quadratic formula. And it's little things, like I could do that in 30 seconds because, like, sure, it's a different language that I've never used before, but it's all very similar. And once you learn those basic steps, then you can go on to do whatever you want. You can go learn how to code an app. You can go learn how like hardware works. It's just, it all builds on top of each other. So I 100% think that computer science classes should be weighted a lot more than they are, and I honestly think it's a shame that there's only 20 kids in C++ or whatever it is.